Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's webinar event. My name is Joshua and I'm going to be your presenter today. Welcome to everyone. It is promptly 11:30 here. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're here to talk about church windows accounting and the specific topic of changing banks. I guess you could also probably consider this maybe the church is opening up or setting up a new asset account, bank account, what have you. But we're labeling it changing banks. So before we get started on our topic here, a few things, technical issues. If you have a single monitor, click the little red arrow on the sidebar of your webinar control panel. That minimizes that control panel, gets it out of the way, allows you to get a better or the full visual effect of the presentation. If you've got a dual monitor set up, go ahead and drag that off to your second desktop just to get it out of the way. If you have questions, please type those into the questions portion of the webinar control panel. I'll do my best to keep an eye on those. If I don't get to them during the event, I will certainly be happy to answer those at the very end. I do ask simply that you do keep the questions on topic, our topic at hand here, changing banks. It may be that there's another webinar that's better set up and equipped to answer your other question. If you have it, of course, our support technicians are simply a phone call or email away. We're certainly happy to answer any questions you have. Today's webinar event is being recorded. We've got a new person dealing with our recordings and web publications on these now. So frankly, folks, this event recording will probably be available on our website later today or at least no later than tomorrow, okay? So you can revisit this topic. With that being said, the document that I'm using for today's webinar is not taken from an accounting workbook. It is actually right here, this changing banks using the donations module version 19 or newer. So right here, this what to do when the church changes banks, okay? So this is the document that I'm using as the guide for today's webinar event, okay? Frankly, folks, this event probably won't even go the full 20 minutes, but just letting you know, we are using this. We actually do have, if I recall correctly, a video out on the website for this already. So right here, it was version 19, so a couple versions ago, but it covers the same exact topic that we're covering here. But we will have today's video out there again here very soon, okay? All right. So essentially, you know, when we're going into accounting, we're basically saying that we want to add a new asset to our chart accounts right up here under our assets. Let me introduce my highlighter friend here. So right here, this is a new asset. So we've got our Huntington Bank checking, and say the church is deciding that, you know, we're not happy with our current bank for our checking account, or, you know, for whatever reason, the church is setting up a new asset account, okay? So we have to start by adding the new asset to our chart of accounts. A lot of folks are under the impression that, well, can't I just rename the current account? No, they're different accounts. They have different bank reconciliations, different activity. We've got to set up the two separate accounts so there's a clear distinction between the old account and the new account, okay? So as we can do with any of our accounts in accounting, we can add the accounts in any number of ways. We could go to our Tree View tab here, right-click and choose Add a New Asset. We're not going to do that. We're going to close out and go up to Manage Accounts here at the top left, Accounts Plus Minus. And then in the upper left-hand corner, here's my highlighter again, we're going to choose Asset, okay? So there's where we're going to add our new asset account, okay? We click on that, and it opens up the Setup Chart of Accounts window, and it's create an asset, and we're going to enter our new asset account name. So we're going to call this Park National, if I could type today, checking. And then when we come down, it's requiring that we enter, of course, an account number that starts with a 1. I've got a few numbers here between my Huntington Bank checking and my petty cash account, so we'll make this one, how about 110-103, okay? And we're going to choose the subtotal where it's going to go into, which is under our current assets and investments. It's not a fixed asset. And then we're simply going to click Add Account. So it now adds it to our list of existing assets down here in our accounts right here, 110, 103, Park National Checking, okay? So of our 6 things to consider or that are involved with, oftentimes, if the church owns, say, all the modules of the software and uses those, that's our first step complete of our 6 steps, okay? We've added the asset, okay? The second step of that is to move money, a balance from the old asset or checking account into our new account, okay? We establish that account, typically through a check or a cash deposit or something, electronic funds transfer, whatever, however the money actually physically moves from our current cash account into our new account, okay? And how we deal with that in Church Windows is we go up to Transactions in the upper left, and right here across the top center to this option called Transfer. So we click on that. It opens our Enter Transfers window. And hey, what do you know, it's April 30th. So we're going to say that the church is opening the account today. So that kind of works out nicely. So then our From account is going to be our Huntington Bank Checking account. So we choose Huntington Bank Checking, we tab over and we click in and type in our To account. But notice here, I like to point out to folks, when dealing with transfers, once you've chosen that From account, it automatically forces you to choose another account of the same type to transfer to, okay? That's what makes the transfers, in this case, preferable. It's because it minimizes our mistakes when transferring balances. So we choose our Park National Bank Checking, and we're going to enter the amount that we're depositing to establish or open that new account. We're going to say it's $5,000. Our payment method, I also like to point out that when posting asset transfers, it does require that we choose a payment method, and we can print a check and put a check into the print queue and print that if we want to, okay? If the funds are moving electronically, but in either case, we will choose whatever payment best supports how the money is actually being moved, okay? So if we choose computer check, we don't need to enter a bill and pay a bill in order to produce a check. An asset transfer will do that. Because the check itself is not printed or produced here, it does not require that we enter that check number. We would enter any desired comments, to open a new checking account. I am really having a hard time typing today, folks. I'm so sorry. So now we do checking. There we go, done add to batch. We now do show running balance. In the upper right, we show our Huntington Bank Checking is lower by $5,000, and our adjusted balance on our National Bank Checking, Park National Checking is now higher or has $5,000. It's doing exactly what we want. We click Post, okay? Step 2 of our document is done, okay? I'm not going to print this. Okay, number 3 is set the new default checking account if necessary or applicable. So if I want this account to show up when I'm paying bills or entering income or what have you, I would go up to Special Functions, Settings here in the upper left-hand corner, and right here, let me get my highlighter again, right here where it says Default Asset Account, okay, it shows my Huntington Bank Checking, so we're going to clear that out of there, and we're going to click the drop-down menu. We're going to choose Park National Checking, okay, and click OK. Step 3 of these 6 steps is complete, okay. Number 4 is linking donations to giving accounts to the new account. So I can do that from either donations or accounting. So we're going to do it from accounting. We go up to Transactions, right across the top center here to Transfer Donations, right here. I think I've gotten better at drawing my arrows over the years here doing this. We go up to Transfer Donations, and now we're going to click on the tab on this window called Default Account Links. okay? So right here, we see in our debit account column right here, our original Huntington Bank checking account, okay? So we're going to change those, and they can only be done independently, folks. I have to do them one at a time. There's no en masse function for that. But I simply click in the respective account, choose Park National Bank checking. I just continue on down the list, assuming all of my deposits are going into my Park checking. Okay, once I've gone down the list here, then all my donations from this point forward will go into my Park National Bank checking. Okay. This is the quickest and easiest place to do that en masse here. Just changing all of the desired accounts, just making sure you're scrolling down to the bottom and changing all of those accounts. It does take a little bit of time, few minutes, couple minutes, but hopefully it shouldn't take too terribly long on that for you. Okay. No save option here. It changes it. It saves it automatically. So step 4 of 6 is done. Okay. The other place you can do this if you really want to, it's a little more tedious, is in donations. If we go into our manage accounts window here in donations, and you click on each one of our giving accounts down here on the left and go to the accounting links, you can change them right here, but it's a lot more work and a lot more mouse clicks. Okay. I would always recommend going up to donations, transfer to accounting, or doing it in accounting where we were. Okay. Again, clicking on default account links. Okay. Step 4 of our 6 steps is done when setting up the new account. Number 5 is linking payroll to our new checking account. For those of you that don't own payroll, please forgive me. We have to go through this. It's not terribly long. So we're going to launch our Church Windows payroll module. Gives us a warning. That's okay. We go to System Administration, account number setup. Right down here, I would probably do set defaults, and I'd go, okay, I'm changing this from my Huntington Bank checking to my Park National checking. Then I can literally just go through each employee and click the apply defaults, and notice here for my Pastor Larry, it's changed it to 103. Simply go to the next employee, apply defaults, next employee, apply defaults, etc. Okay? And then click apply and OK when I'm finished. I've then now linked all of my employees, so all my future paychecks are then being posted to my new checking account. Of course, I'd have to ensure then I am printing it to the proper check stock too. Not much that Church Windows can do to help you with that. So, but you just make a note for yourself, of course. And finally, is number 6, is linking our link to asset if applicable. Okay, and that's dealt with in accounting. If we go into Manage Accounts and go into our chart of accounts and we scroll down or collapse all and go to our fund balances, we notice over here on the right-hand side on our Detail tab, we've got a menu called Asset right here. Okay. If I say, okay, my general operating fund balance monies are stored in my, say, checking account, I can say I want it to go into my Park National Bank checking or whatever asset it is. Okay. If I have fund balance monies are not stored in one particular asset, then this function won't help. Okay. But basically, if you're saying each and every time you want the warning to come up and tell you when you're attempting to put something in or something out, you take something out of a particular fund balance and asset, accordingly, the message will pop up when you're attempting to do that, that warns you, hey, you're attempting to pay a bill or enter income to an asset or a fund whose associated asset is different. Are you sure you want to do this? Okay. This doesn't link funds and assets directly in any way. Okay. It is simply a helpful warning when you're attempting to do something. So what I mean by that is if, say, we go to enter income here, and I go and I choose, here's my default asset, and I go, oh, my Huntington Bank checking, and I choose something like my general ties and offerings, and I go, okay, I'm going to enter, well, let's say we're not going to do that. We're going to do, yeah, we'll do that. It's a nice, easy one. And I go, I got $500, click Done, Add to Batch. Here's my message. General ties and offerings belongs to a fund whose associated asset account does not match the asset account used in this transaction. Do you want to add this transaction to the batch? So you're getting a warning that, hey, you might be, doing something wrong here. I can do it still. But if I go, oh, no, I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't want this money to go into my Huntington Bank checking. I want it to go to my Park National Bank. Now when I clicked on Add to Batch, I don't get that message. Okay? So that's all that linking the asset to a fund does, is it just pops up and provides us with that nice friendly warning that we may be doing something wrong if we're not paying attention. Okay? There is no requirement in the software, folks, to use this feature. Okay? You do not have to link a fund to assets in any way. It's just a helpful tool. That's all.